Hello, everybody. I'm just laughing because Kruba says, Happy Fun Day, loves hug. All right. That's a good greeting. Hey, everybody. Happy Fun Day. Today's a fun day. Makes Sunday much more entertaining. So we went for a hike. I'm actually up in Whistler. Norma Jean's down in North Van, holding the anchor, big elastic band all stretched out. Until we get snapped back in sometime next week. So we'll see when we decide to come back. So this is a painting client, and we've become friends. And I'm truly grateful that we get to come and like hang out in this lovely chalet. And Norma has been here. It's very beautiful, very cozy. And we're having turkey dinner today. And I will say it again, I only make turkey so I can have my turkey soup. I have a affection for turkey soup. Norma Jean, how are you doing today?
Ooh, just my usual everyday normal routine. Learning more and more of what this place is, what it represents. To do the best I can to convey that to others to help them understand how to harness that and come forth and understand that it's our time. It's our time to step forward and become everything that we've always dreamt and desired to become.
Absolutely. Yeah. And as we, it's like this big adventure game, right? And the more we laugh and play, and the more we connect with like minded people, the more fun it becomes, even when there's lots of struggles out in the world and we're witnessing some pretty atrocious weather events. We kind of all knew this was coming. We've been told for a very long time Mother Nature is expanding, and whether or not it's weather warfare, we don't know for fact. Nobody knows for fact until we know for sure. But just that we keep holding space and sending love and keeping your vibration high assists those struggling. It really, really does, because we are all so deeply connected. We're all so interconnected. And so just remember that. Remember that when you're feeling a little blue about something that's going on in the world, that it's actually better for you to work on your vibration and keep your vibe high, because that helps lift all of the collective, so to speak. Yeah, absolutely. I know, right? Hey, Flispus, thank you. Yeah, Thanksgiving in Canada is earlier than the USA, so which is interesting. I'll try and make
Depends on
sense.
where you're at in the world. I'm just saying.
Right? And some people don't even do Thanksgiving. Gosh, I think about the tradition of Thanksgiving. It's harvest time, right? It's a time to celebrate and give thanks, and to give thanks for people in your life, to have that gratitude. So I'm deeply grateful for where I'm at in this space and place, to have this beautiful roof over our heads, and even at home to be surrounded by nature, which is always nurturing, to have the sun popping out today, as you can all see. So what are you grateful for today? We would love to hear what you're grateful for. Grateful that, have the ability to travel and to be able to come up here and enjoy without spending a shit ton of money. What are you grateful for, Norma?
Mm, I'm grateful so much. There's not one thing, I'm grateful to be able to come here and explore more of this place that I am within me, to be given the chance and opportunity to be everything that I am representative of that, and not have those the times that I had up to this point where there's that oppression or depression or rejection of what I would express about my perspective of what this world was and what we was going through and the changes and the shifts that were taking place. So I'm grateful to know that I've made it here to a space and place that I'm more sovereign than I've ever been. So that's
Expand on that, please.
what's that?
Expand on that, please. Keep going.
You know, Sovereignty means something to everyone differently in many ways. For me, sovereignty is knowing that each day I work towards and master understanding how to be better than I was the day before, how to understand how to harness the empowering being that I am in my creative processes, where I remain in a solution oriented position and never be a part of a problem, but recognize that problem and see it for all that it can represent, whether it's the here, the past, or even in a future tense, where I'm not just taking myself in consideration of, oh, well, how's this going to be helpful for me so I don't have to go through that? It's how's it going to be helpful for me to be able to understand how it's going to be helpful for the whole, how to bring about a solution that puts everyone in a position and place of understanding that we're all encompassing, we're all valued, we all have worth, we all have this ability to tap into that greater aspect in that higher part, in that higher heart, the pleroma, where that's the in between, to understand how to exist in a place of harmony of the one, of understanding that this being that we are, this embodied, came here with a purpose, a reason, and that is to be able to create a world where the opposing energies have a harmonious existence, without it being where one scale, drops lower than the next. And that's something that's always something, for me, I'm always working within myself for me to understand how I can apply that out here or with a collective. I must first understand it within myself. So that's where, as I do this, I feel that I gain more of my sovereignty by understanding how to perform those duties of for myself. What's it going to take for you to understand that balance? What's it going to take for you to understand how to produce those solutions to the ever present problems or situations that present themselves as problems? If you can understand it in self, you'll know how to understand it and apply it and help others to understand how that application can be applied in their everyday life, to understand how to live a better life, where what is deemed as karma gets replaced with that dharmic purpose of overcoming and not making choices that have been made that fall upon those problems, and choosing to be that greater aspect of self in your creative process to be the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And to sum it up, it's being that observer, and really, before you act or react or respond, is this in the highest good of all involved? Is this in my highest good? Or before you act on a decision or make a move or give your energy towards something, using your discernment to be very conscientious about where you're putting your energy. For your energy is your currency. Your wealth is your health. And the more we explore and understand this deeply, it gets more and more profound all the time, for how we talked about it on the last show, about all the, all the school programming, right? We knew it was programming. Well, we know now it was programming, and we knew we didn't fit in as the black sheep that many of you that listen to us were or are, and that in that not allowing the programming to affect us, we managed to pull back and not give our energies to the thing, not memorized for the test, because in that memorization of those tests and that belief that that textbook was right, we created a lot of things. And to come into that realization, it's quite profound that, damn, Freedom, liberty, lover. I had emotionally challenging moments today after a good cry. I booted my vibe back up. Good for you. Yeah. And you can, this is part of that writing, that observing and alchemizing. It's all part of it. Shedding those tears, as Shay loves to say, it's windshield wipers for the soul. Yeah. And so when we're talking about and allowing yourself to feel those emotions 100%, even if it's anger, right? But I don't have any anger towards anything that went on as part of school. It's not worth it. Why would I give it any more energy? Why would I allow that to further affect me? What can we do now? What can we do with gratitude for showing us that, oh, we as a collective have that much power? Ooh, so what should we all be focusing on so that we give our attention? Ooh, now we know that, right? Oh, it's like, oh, so being highly aware that what you put your attention and intention on grows. And if many of us gather, more than one, two or more gather in my name, so to speak. All right, so now we're boosting it further and further and further. So when you're out there and you're berating many for not behaving the way you think they should behave, or there's division going on in politics, I say the same thing about the political show. It doesn't deserve any of my attention. No, none, because it's both being puppeted from up above. I don't care who it is. Nobody is acting of their own free will within that. And so we need to take our power back. And we were just discussing that sovereignty. We have elections here in BC right now. There's a lot of division going on platforms right now. It's quite interesting to observe. Yeah, go ahead, Norma.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's even with everything that I've come to understand, and taking the bite of that apple of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. This is where we have those moments and times where we ultimately do have those moments of where we find out how much we're made of. And so it's, hey, love, it's good to hear from you. That no matter what we're presented with, we must always question what that means. There's so much out here, so much, that probably the greatest thing I always ask myself is, show me the truth. Show me the truth of this information. Show me the truth of that information, because that's all I want. I want truth. It doesn't mean that there isn't truth that resides there. It's show me the truth of what is being presented to me, and I'll handle the rest. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm human. I'm going to make mistakes because I am here. I'm going to make mistakes because I am influenced by the energies that are here. We all are. I'm going to make mistakes, especially if I know that if I'm not coming from that greater place, that greater part of myself, and I'm only using what the mind can show me or provide me, then I'm going to fail. I'm going to fail myself. I'm going to fail you. So it's always that, understand that there are going to be times that I'm going to make mistakes. And there's going to be times that I'm going to change what I've already spoken to before I've come into more understanding of it. There are going to be times that if I present you with some information, the last thing I want to do is influence your free will, because you do get to choose. All I want you to know is this is my approach. This is my understanding. This is how I see what has been given to me to understand this truth that has been put before me, so that I may convey it to you to help you understand how to come to that truth for yourself.
And there are no mistakes, Norma Jean. We call them mistakes, but my biggest, what they call failures, or my biggest lesson points, because I will never forget that one. Thank you for anchoring that one in. We won't do that again. right? So those, are they mistakes? We need another word for them. Yeah, absolutely. They're
Mistake,
micro.
mistakes.
Yeah, right there. That's a better word. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Let's take it again. Cut.
Uh, you're the director. You're either playing a role, a character, or a position that somebody else is directing for you. So I mean, for me, is if I can step up and say I've made a mistake, it's because I mistake the information. All I must do is correct it by cutting and
Yeah.
again and again.
Yeah. Yeah. Opportunities. Absolutely. Opportunities. Everything is an opportunity to, yeah. And it's actually sitting in that stagnation around making a decision on something is actually a really uncomfortable place to be too. So yeah, there's always the ability and the opportunity to adjust and tweak as you go and not beat yourself up for it because we've been so trained to be so hard on ourselves when in all reality we need to be our biggest cheerleaders. And
Mm.
so when we called this show gratitude and discernment, it's this discernment is huge. It's huge around who are you watching on social media? It's huge around, what are you deciding to do with your time? What are you consuming? And as we kick into these new energies, it's even how much are you being programmed by ascension symptoms? How much are you being programmed by, right? Just go by how you feel. And then what can you do and what can you adjust? And if it's something more serious, definitely go get it checked out. But there's so much BS out there right now that I've been observing. And so much of it is no different than a political show in the spiritual community, and it's really hard to watch some of it. And I'm laughing because I almost don't want to even say anything about spirituality anymore. And let's just call it expansion. Let's just call it, the inner work, authenticity. I just want to be authentic. I want everyone to be able to be authentically themselves without judgment. And so, whatever that means for you, absolutely. We're not here to tell you how you should be, that what you're feeling is invalidated or it is validated. It's all part of this process of uncovering who you truly are and
Mm.
taking off the different masks and excavating who you are. And everything's happening for you and not to you, just pulls you out of that victim mode. And that's why we say that one so often. But hey, if you want to play the victim, we're not going to tell you not to. That's on you. It's not for us to convince you to be any different. I just say, how do you feel? How do you feel when you're in that victim mode? How do you feel when you're around that person? How do you feel when you're in that space? Yeah, because that's your navigation tool. You will always know, because as soon as something I'll be in public and I'll be like, "Whoa, what's going on around here?" Because you can feel it. It's in the air, it's in the energy. We're learning to tune into that now much stronger than before, where it's like, "Oh, something's going on in this space. What is it?" Hmm. So we have these conversations when we're out and about it. It's fascinating. And then you look for the signs, right? Is there something energetically here? Yeah, it makes the adventure game. Oh, is there a clue here for me? Yeah, best adventure game ever. Go ahead, Norma.
Yeah, of course.
That
It's that breadcrumb analogy that comes along. You know, that whether we've placed them there or somebody else has, how much of awareness do we have as to what that breadcrumb, if we have the awareness to notice it as that, takes us. See, so it's like the hidden objects games. Man, I used to play those all the time because it's good for the brain. It works the brain to be able to see things, to look and be more focused on seeing things they may not, because everything is blended in this place to a level and degree, depending on what you've got brewing up here. Because you see, what's brewing up here is those connections to you know, those archons, those deities, to a level and a degree when you come to understand what all these energies are about, because they're all energy. That's all it is energy. But you got to understand what these energies represent. Once you understand what these energies represent, that helps you to understand what the mind is conveying and what it's doing to help you in your process. Because even though there are times you're going to feel like, Jesus, why are they so much against me here? even my environment is proving this to me. But what it means is that you're either the puppet on the string and they're just taking you wherever they want you to go, or you're in that awareness level of saying, oh, no, that's not who I am. That's not the choice I want to make. Why would I want to do that to myself? I've done this to myself before. Why would I want to do it again? Because sometimes it takes us 1, 2, up to 3 times to really have that awareness level to change how we approach or the choices we make as far as our actions are concerned. But that awareness puts you in a position and place to be able to come back and take those deep breaths and be able to come at it from a place where you have clarity of mind, where it's a clear mind, and close your eyes, because when you close your eyes, then there's nothing there. So you don't have any of those distractions. And then when you're ready, open your eyes and you'll see something that you didn't see before. Your environment's telling you everything you need to know to understand where you're at, what's taking place, what's going on, and how to perceive it in a way where you don't always have to approach it in the way that you always have. And this is where you get that chance and opportunity to become that solution orientation for yourself, which then becomes a solution for the environment.
Yeah, I agree. Kreba's just asking about the archons. Do you want to just give a quick description? And yes, I can already see the visual coming in regards to this. It's a little bit bigger than just the archons.
It's massive. But the archons are your gods, deities, and things. These are your planets. These are your constellations. These are your suns. These are your moons and things like that. Because these are energies of those manifested visual energies. And this is through agnosticism and hermeticism. So it's a blending of the two. This goes like way back. There's so many stories across the continents that express the same thing, just in its own language. But it's all the same thing. This all goes to understanding the zodiac signs. And those zodiac signs are in our sky, in the constellations, understanding those suns and the moons that are in those constellations, if they have some, like Sirius. Sirius is Aldebaran and Regal, or Regulus, Regal. Anyway, I'm trying to bring that forward, but I'm not there. But archons are somewhat what you would call the puppet masters. But to understand these energies is to understand that these energies bring forth the ability to be able to understand what the karma is, not because it's good or bad. It's something that needs to be finished. It's something unfinished. That's what karma is. It's just merely something that was never finished. Whether it's by someone before you or the one before them, it's something that's a part of the lineage that needs to be overcome. It's something a part of the lineage that needs transcended, so that way a different choice can be made. So you bring something new in you, not NEW. You bring something new to this world you say you want to experience. So that's and what archons do is they're either doing one of two things for you. They're either controlling you like a puppet on a string and leading and guiding you and just letting you have these experiences and have no direction and wonder why you go through things you go through. Or these archons, if you're aware of them, you understand the energies that they are and they show up, then you have that awareness to say, whoa, I know what this is. That's this energy from this constellation, or from this zodiac sign, or from this planet, that I must recognize, that I must alchemize, so that way it doesn't lead or guide me in ways that I do not need it to, because I understand that it's a karma. Or that it's something that's helping me to transmute or transcend a choice that was made in this lineage. I may not understand it. I just know that I'm not going to choose to do that. So that's where you begin to understand you're more engaged in your choices and in your life and how your life presents itself to you. So that way you're not creating things in your environment that's bringing forth those not so great, so to speak, experiences. Yet every experience holds an answer to the very things that we are in the process of understanding about ourselves, about our lineage, about what we're here and what our purpose is. And that's just to be the Dharma that creates the difference, that brings about the new world we all say we know will exist in a harmonious way. That doesn't mean that there still won't be certain levels of inharmonious moments, because even elements have times where they don't get along. They don't correspond with one another because of the mixtures. But that doesn't mean that we don't understand how to take those elements or those energies and understand to alchemize them in ways where they work for us. So that way we propel forward in the direction of the experiences we say we want to have, because we want to have more of those moments of bliss, those moments of happiness. But to understand, for us to have those moments, we must understand what it's not to be that.
I'm going to sum it up a little differently, but it's saying the same thing. So last week, I felt like there was tension on me, like, and I'm like, what is this? This is not mine. So what is going on? Because I'm feeling it. So then I went and checked astrology for the day. I don't do it first, so I'm not preceding. I do it when. So how do I feel? What is my action? So I can better understand, and using enealogy, which is the numerology and some astrology and the astrology. I had Mars and the sun like this conjunct. so that just gave me, okay, now I know what this energy is. So that's how we're discussing it. Although there will be much more to unpack, unravel, share around this as we start to master it even further. Because really, at the end of the day, your mission is to feel good all the time. Yes, that is what we do desire. And to figure out what is this lagging energy that's hanging on to me? Whose is it, right? To ask whose it is and how can I clear it and what can I do? Releasing with tears, body movement, however you like to move energy, right? Maybe it's a little qigong, maybe it's some yoga. And I've been doing a lot more tapping lately, which I will do a recording of and share, so that you can move the energy for self and learn that. So those are some of the basics on how I would utilize that. We've got a plethora, if you think about it, for every ancient religion, for every country, there's a story that talks about these different gods and these energies. And they'll all be a little bit different depending on who wrote it and their perspective. And so I think coming up with something that's really quite simplified is the mission here for us. So you can understand, why is this so important? Because in order to get out of this dome, this game, we do transcend it. And it's a matter of mastering how. Not many people here are sharing this info. Why? They're gone. They've left. Right? And so we're finding those souls that are willing to share and go through this. I can tell you, it's not in the political game. It's about standing up for your own sovereignty in the here or now. And more of us that do it, the more of us that get to stand in our power. Yeah. And we get to take care of each other and self in a new way of living, a new way of being. And we're not waiting for aliens to come and save us. Nobody's coming to save us. We're saving ourselves. Yeah, absolutely. So, absolutely. I just want to comment for Freedom Liberty Lover. Let's just pop that one back up there. All right, love. We happen to know what you're going through, right? Yeah. How do we stay on a higher timeline? Every time you feel discombobulated, right? Every time you feel like you're being pulled by that energy of what is going on, I'd like you to go to gratitude. And what do you want the outcome to be? How do you want to feel for the outcome of the situation? And start listing those things. And then start I aming those statements. Yeah. That's the only way, in my opinion.
Yeah. You got to approach the situation as well from this standpoint. When you come to the recognition and realization that you're in that challenging time, you're in that challenging moment. What do I do? What do I do? And of course, this is where what I was speaking to, you come to understand that these are the times you're going to be challenged, because this is what you would say is kind of like a vulnerable time for you. And this is where you must recognize the difference of understanding that you're being governed by those archons, because they're coming in your mind. Because all of a sudden you got all these thoughts coming through your head, and then what happens is you start getting overwhelmed. And at that point in time, it's like, whoa, what do I do? You get to the heart. But to get to the heart, you got to take those breaths. You got to take those breaths. Tap. But as T says, sit down. And understand, if you can't sit down and write how it is you want to see it, then move to going to things like put on some music and start dancing. Celebrate something that hasn't happened, but yet it will. Begin to act as if.
Celebration time. Oh yeah.
Fake it till you make it. Get up and dance. Whether it be that you're dancing because you're in gratitude of where you are and what you've chosen to be, and where you've brought yourself, given that we know where you're at. If you can't get to a place yet in that moment to be of that mindset that puts you in that higher vibratory state that keeps you in a higher timeline, go to a place that you already are grateful for, because it's already happened for you, and allow that to take you there. For in this time, it's about staying in that space of keeping that higher timeline, is understanding that now you're at a place where you can do this, but now you got to start retraining your mind to understand that it's already happened. It's a 21-day challenge, love. Every day you have a chance and opportunity, and you got 5, 10, 15 minutes, go put some music on. Go back to that time where you knew when you was dancing, you was having all that good time. It didn't matter if it was in the club or if it was with friends over at a friend's house, knowing that, the parents are gone, you're just having a good time. It doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to get you in that place that makes you feel good, that the heart is happy, and it's overriding all this shit that's going on in your head. That's how you get there. Then you move to the place where, as T just says, sit down and write out how it is you command for it to be. Okay, now this is your time. And I told you, go put that crown on. Dance around with that crown on. Know what it's like to feel to be that goddess. Know what it's like to be that goddess. For you, this is a chance and opportunity to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, beautiful. And you've got this. So you could even do all right, let's recap this for everyone who's wanting to shift something in their life and they feel like they keep hitting a sticking point. You can do your own meditation. You can create your own guided meditation, or you can tag me. Right? On the website, there's a chance to have, for those of you that are not within the circle, 30 minutes for free. I could certainly, knowing that I only want a meditation, here's my pain points, here's what's going on, I can create, and I basically channel them, a custom meditation. Now, the idea is, because I've taken Freedom from Self-Sabotage coaching program, and I've done lots of Reiki, quantum healing, energy healing, I do a combination within these meditations that are like a subconscious reprogramming and healing at the same time. It is the best value because you're not just coming in for a 1-hour session, you're coming in and you're getting something to take. I usually recommend carrying it forward for 30 days. Do it once a day is great, twice a day is fantastic. And if you can do it 3 times a day, even better, right? So you're setting yourself up for success once in the morning, once in the midday, and once in the evening before bed. You're reprogramming your subconscious, remembering your subconscious is meant to keep you safe. It does not know anyone else. It only knows you. And what it does is it picks up millions of pieces of information every single second. And it's wanting to keep you safe. Do you understand how all this subconscious programming happens? I read an article, or caught a post today about dreams and how, oh, they can manipulate you now and get you to communicate in dreams. I'm like, oh, they've had that tech forever. Somebody's just finally speaking about it. Come on. So the subconscious programming is very strong. So choose carefully about what you're listening to and what you're watching. It's unbelievable how discombobulating it can be without you even realizing it. This is what the education system is for this deep-seated constant programming. Now your subconscious, the mainstay of it is built from ages birth until the age of 7, and then it correlates everything against that programming. So depending on what happened in your childhood, that is your foundation. And then everything else is on top of that. So it can be some deep-seated programming that needs to be rewritten. But you've got this. It's amazing when it happens and we see it. Andrea's commenting on it. Every time she came back at me with a comment about something, this is going on. I'm like, have you done your meditation? Because that's going to be my answer to everyone. When you do the actual, and it's not work, it's a break, it's a rest. When you're kind to yourself and loving to yourself, that's where the big shifts happen. When you honor yourself so much that you commit to yourself, that you're willing to take these steps every single day for you, because no one else can do the work for you. You have to do it for self. And so then we have these weekly gatherings of membership, which are so profound. The sharings that happen. I'm so honored, deeply honored to be there. Yeah, absolutely. And so you guys all have this opportunity to rewrite your programming and become a new version of you in every breath, in every second, in every moment. You need a good starting point. You need a good base to get to, right? Because every time you start and then you beat yourself up for not being where you want to be, no. Look at that. I reacted. Oh, well, you know what? We're going to start fresh now, right? Okay, why was I triggered, right? You don't have to sit there and figure it all out. You can simply go to gratitude and joy. All right, I was triggered again, so I must be off balance. Quit beating yourself up. You're your own worst enemy. Absolutely. And you still feel, I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Yeah, you get to feel to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you ever take a single breath granted. Yeah, so this is Carolyn in the background coming up with songs. So she's getting tunes given to her as we're speaking, which is super beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Leanne Warwick, I hope you dance. Beautiful. Thank you for that, Carolyn. That's beautiful. So, you have, it's not hard. The hardest thing to overcome is yourself. But once you do it, once you commit to yourself, once you do take that little step, and it can be a small thing, and then cheer for yourself. I used to run around whenever I was around little kids, all of them. Yay me. It's all I did was around going, yay me, whenever they did something good, right? I let them put their arms up and cheer because nobody else is going to do that for them. Yeah. Yeah, beautiful, Michelle. Thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. There's so many opportunities to just take a beat, take a breath. That deep breath. Remember, you got more hairs on the bottom of your lungs than on the top. And when you breathe deeply, you flood your body with oxygen, which brings down your vagus nerve and brings you into a calmer state. Norma, you want to add to that? I know you do.
Yeah. It's when we come to realize and recognize that, all we ever needed was ourselves. But of course, even when we get to ourselves, we're still going to need guidance so we can hang on to that. So don't think that you don't have that cheering, that support. Because even though I can sit here and I can talk about the archons and gods and daemons and stuff like that, everybody has their own belief system. I'm not saying it's good or bad. All I'm saying is you do have support. You do have support. Whether it be that you come here and you watch this, or it be that you have someone else you go and you watch and they give you that upliftment. Just know that the more and more you work with yourself and you get to know who you are in all this, I guarantee you the more you're going to come to love who you are, because you're going to come to that space and place of understanding. All I ever needed was myself, but the only one that was standing in my way was me. And
Yep.
I had help on that. So I know if I had help on that, there's got to be some help for me on the other side too. I'm just saying.
Right?
So to
Yeah.
speak. So, that's the reason why we say, just because you're having that shitty moment doesn't mean that within 5 minutes that shitty moment ends. Doesn't mean that it can't become a party moment. Because guess what? I've had so many shitty moments in my life. I know how to just like, if they show up, but they're not showing up so much. Doesn't mean that I'm still not going to be challenged to see what I'm capable of and what I'm made of. If I can stand in that space and place of that heartfelt self, because I was challenged today. I was very much challenged today because it was by someone I so care about, that I honor so much, that it was one of those that I had to take those deep breaths. Because when you are given the chance and opportunity to have that connection, but there are things that are said that seems as though feels like that it's being said against you, or that you're not feeling like you're being supported in the way that you're sitting here in this position in place wanting that support. You're going to bring up that shield. That's a part of who we are. We did it for so long. I still do it. But in that, I recognize that, okay, I got to step back and take a deep breath. Because I care about what this individual cares about me, how they perceive me. But I know that even to that place and that space, there's going to be that tug and pull, depending on the belief system or the faith system. And I honor that. And all I could do at the end was say, trust me. Trust what I'm doing. Trust that I'm doing this all from the heart that I am. And that's because of you. That I have such a will and a drive to help others to understand how to live a life where there is more happiness, where there is that joy. Because it's not something we create, it's something we create from. Because we are it. But we have to understand these are our trials and our tribulations. These are those times that we're going to be challenged. Challenged in ways where when you walk away from a situation that deals with the people you love, that you can still walk away where it's, I love you. I honor you. I honor you for where you are, from exactly where you sit. And I will not take that away from you. I will not change you so that I feel better or honor you for where you are. Just trust that I'm doing the same. Because you were that. You were the one that showed me how to do that. You're the one that taught me how to take those strengths and build upon them, even when I had to use them as a defense mechanism. I'm not here to change anybody. You have to do that. I'm just here to tell you, in my experience, as I've changed, things around me change. I'm not here to tell you that, this is good or that's bad. You have to determine that. You have to know that from your heart, because your heart's going to tell your mind once you can get the mind to stop its chatter, because that's what's distracting you. It's there to distract you so that you don't get to that place of that dharmic level. That's what frequency and vibration is. It's a dharmic level of overcoming and not approaching these situations that continue to still trigger you in ways, because even just the slightest thing can trigger even me and put me in a state or place where I'm not hearing correctly, because I've got that shield up. Even if I know that I've done it physically or not, if I'm getting to a place that's shifted how I'm feeling when I begin in that conversation, then that's my awareness. That's when I get to change that. That's when I get to say, no. I will not do this. I will not do this to myself. Which means if I don't do this to myself, I will not do it to another. So I put that shield down. Heck, sometimes it even surprised me that I still even have that shield to grab. But I still do. So I understand that.
We all do.
So staying in a higher vibratory state is to understand that when you can catch yourself in a moment where your energy gets shifted and it doesn't feel good, change it. Change it immediately and say, no, this is no longer who I am going to be, because I am not going to be that puppet on that string.
Norma's got some awesome graphics for that too. Those were beautiful.
So yeah, so you see, I may be able to bring this information to you. I may be able to even embody this information myself, but it doesn't mean that I still don't get challenged. So understand that as I sit here, I sit with you. I am no better and I am no lesser. I experience the same thing you do. I am still presented with challenges just as you. But my goal and my mastery is always being a better version of myself for each moment that I'm given the chance and opportunity to do that.
Beautiful. And every moment and every day, you do get to choose. And hiding out and not being challenged, that's not a solution either. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, you need those external interactions, I'll call them, so that you know. Yeah.
Experience is your greatest teacher.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah. Because until you have them, you cannot move past them or alchemize them or understand them to be able to understand what it takes to alchemize them.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right, you ready to dance it out a little bit, Norma? Just raise your vibration and get that whoo, move that out.
I did. It's when it comes from the ones that you care the most about.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt because you think they're against you. It's not that it hurts.
Yeah.
It's that I feel, and sometimes, because I was always that fixer,
Mm-hmm.
that one to make things better, and just make sure everything's okay, because I don't want it to be too crazy, But it's just that challenge to continue to trust in the heart that's leading and guiding me in the ways that it is. That even though it may not be in the ways of another's belief or faith, doesn't mean that it's still not mine.
Yeah.
That it is still from a place of integrity and honesty and truth and values and morals, for they were mine. That's the only thing that I own. That's the only thing that I care about, that I do own.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times that, when you have that connection, that it's important to a level and degree that you feel like that no matter what may be that those determining wedges, sometimes that they can trust that you're becoming that adept that does make different choices than the ones before you.
Yeah.
So I can't sit here and say that I don't have that time where, of course, those old programmings of these situations has not and does not show up, especially when I do speak to it. Because if I'm speaking to it then, and I'm having these emotions and I'm having this cry, what I'm doing is I am alchemizing. In this very moment, in this very second, I am in a vulnerable position with any and everyone that's sitting here watching me have this moment of alchemization that I still love so much, this individual, because they're so important in my life. But who I cry for is the me that knew at times before this that even though it feels somewhat of a wedge now, was even so much more of a wedge then. That what I'm doing is I'm releasing those. I'm forgiving myself for those misinterpretations and those mistakes. That I got the chance and opportunity to do something and be something different this go around, where I didn't allow it to cause a friction or a greater wedge or anything, that even though I care so much about how they feel, ultimately it just comes down to that they worry. They worry about my well-being.
They're in
When
their
there's
own
that
fear.
worry, and when there's that worry, of course, there's going to come those challenging moments of where friction begins, because things are going to be said and they're going to be misinterpreted given how the conversation starts. So I apologize.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Just witnessed you alchemized live. Thank you for sharing. Yeah.
For the tears are the clearing up for the heart, because I only did it against myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I chose differently this time. So I didn't do something against myself, to myself. I've done it for myself now. So I am humbled by it.
Yeah. And we honor that you were willing to share it with all of us.
I don't think I had any choice to a level of degree.
Coming in hot.
Well, you know me. When I feel deeply. You know me.
Yeah.
And when something
Absolutely.
impacts me or
I know that
affects me.
about you.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. And that is a beautiful way of expressing and knowing and sharing. So Yeah. Yeah.
I got to replace the tears.
You're good. Well, that was beautiful. Yeah, very honored, as always. Yeah, and everyone could feel you. So there you go. Moving those emotions, energy and motion, and allowing. Yeah, it'll all be, it'll all play out as it should. Yeah. And sometimes that's the hardest thing about it is realizing that you don't get to control the outcome. Yeah. That you just get to be a witness and be present. Yeah. Yeah. And we can say that about everyone that comes into membership. We can't do it, as we said, we can't do it for you, but we're so honored to witness and be present with you and give you that love and that energy. So absolutely.
That's the greatest. I anticipate those days. I look so forward to them.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Michelle's feeling you and she's building away.
I'm surprised you didn't feel it when it was taking place because it was only 30 minutes that I just got off before I got on here. So it's
Yeah.
still fresh. So it's, I worked through it to be able to be here, but I also knew that I was bringing it with me. So it was either going to show itself or it wasn't. So here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's, part of one of the most challenging, I find, things with often those closest to you in your life prior to who you are now. They don't understand what you've gone through, what you're alchemizing, what you're experiencing, how you're shifting. They can't because they're not there. They're observing from afar and assume you're still that old version of you, but you're not. I have lots of judgment come at me from like even one ex, and I'm like, that's his perspective. I'm not going to change his perspective, but I'm certainly not taking it on, right? Or when I'm being told by family how I should or shouldn't do something. Yeah, it's just definitely it's a challenge. It's a challenge. Yeah. It's but it shows you a lot about yourself and how much in particular how much less triggered I am now than I was 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. And so that's the beauty of it. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. We're gonna leave you guys with this really vulnerable, heart opening, loving gratitude. Yeah, for all of you being here today and witnessing. We're honored that you share this space with us. And we're grateful you're here and giving your support and love. Yeah, absolutely. I got nothing else to say. Just gratitude. Norma?
I guess all I can say is that I suppose at this point you've witnessed the truth of the authenticity that I am. That I can be here and just allow myself to be whatever it is I'm being in the moment. That I'm able to alchemize this with y'all. To know that I still come here and I showed up because at this point in time, for even coming on, I was like, "Ooh, maybe I should just let G do this." No. You're going to stay responsible. You're going to stay accountable. Life still is continuing. Life is still happening. Whether you're on here or not, it's still going to be happening. So I showed up. And so thank you for your kind words and that love in return. Because trust me, there was a love being expressed in an enormous amount.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here. Thank you Thank you so much.
Yeah. Do whatever you need to do after this and in this moment to just give yourself a hug, everybody. I can't give Norma a hug, can't be there. Come on, Norma. We're all giving you a hug. Give yourself a hug. Yeah, and yay me. Yeah. Don't forget to celebrate your wins and hug yourself when you need to and ask for a hug if you need to. So, again, we're so honored and we love you. Enjoy the rest of your day.